We're back! Welcome back to Stay Home with me, Kris Fade, and friends in this unusual time that we're living across the world. Now, depending on where you're watching this and depending on what country you're living in, we're all under different sort of rules and regulations. We've been living in quarantine. Some rules have been relaxed, some haven't. So whatever you're doing and wherever you're at, there's one word that I wanted to talk about quickly before we get into the show, and that is fear. We are all living with a little bit of fear. It's making some of us anxious, it's making some of us nervous, but I just wanted to let you guys know, like myself, fear is good, all right? Fear is okay. It's just our body reacting to it. So where are we going to end up in this pandemic? Hopefully we'll get a vaccine and things will go back to somewhat normality. But until then, the fear that you're feeling is okay. Are we ready? As I call up another friend to join us on another episode. Please welcome, this woman.
She's the breakout star and queen bee of Bravo's Ladies of London.
Oh, the ceiling's that way. Oh, yeah.
Caroline Stanbury is an entrepreneur, philanthropist, acclaimed stylist, podcaster, TV star, and brand ambassador.
Say hello, boys.
In 2019, Caroline started her own touring talk show, according to Caroline, in the United States.
I've got to put makeup on my feet.
Caroline spends her time between Dubai and LA, promoting some of the world's most luxurious brands. Please welcome to Stay Home with Kris Fade and friends. It's Caroline Stanbury.
It's Caroline Stanbury. How are you?
Yes, I'm really good, Kris. I'm really, really good. Loving first day we're allowed to see anybody out of quarantine. So I know that you haven't gone anywhere, but I went to see close friends.
How's quarantining been going for you? I was just saying that depending on where you live around the world, everyone's in sort of different situations. Some people are allowed to do whatever they want. Some are under full lockdown. Some are partial quarantine. How's it been going for you? How have you been going through this?
It's been, I'm actually enjoying it because I travel so much. Normally, as you know, I'm on a plane like every 10 to 14 days. So it's the longest I've spent here in one go and not leaving the house with my children. It's been really, really fun, but it's also, it's been a lot for all of us. I think the kids want to get out, I want to get out, but it's, you're learning so much about each other as a family because, when in the day, normally, do you not go anywhere? Like we are stuck together 24/7. I haven't seen anybody for quite some time, but I mean, saying that, I've got 9 people that live in my house. What's anybody? I mean, it's like a zoo. Today's the first day I've gone over to my girlfriend's house and it's so nice. And we chose a family that they've been in quarantine 6 weeks now, so they haven't seen anybody else. And the only people I would see at this point are people that I know have already done what we're doing.
Yeah, it's a bit of it's a game of trust, I would say. Like, I feel like we're all having to really trust each other. I'm doing the same eventually when we're allowed to see each other, where I'll be like, okay, have you guys gone anywhere over the last couple of weeks? Or, have you quarantined yourself?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So I think that's what we're all doing. I don't think any of us have gone this far not to continue. I mean, even with like the people that work in my house, as much as I'm sure they all want to get out and it's worse for them because we at least have the use of the garden and the pool and everything else. I don't want to be a party pooper, but I'm like, please be aware of where you are going now. Or if you want to go out, please don't leave the compound. Or, I want to know that you're seeing your friends from the other villas, not going down the road to God knows where I'm going to have to start this whole process again.
We saw a really cool intro to you before we introduced you. Obviously, this huge reality TV show from a few years back, Ladies of London, which for the first time I've actually watched some of the moments because... Well, you and I have known each other for over a year and about a year and a half now. I think you and I have known each other. It's funny because we've clicked and we've become pretty cool friends, but I never knew the Caroline from the reality TV show until prior to this interview when I was doing a bit of research. And I'm like, I don't know if I'd want to be friends with this woman now.
Oh no, you wouldn't. I was really nice in there. They called me the Ice Queen with a heart. That was my actual line. And people still like me. I was liked very much, Kris. And that's why even after 3 years of being off air, I'm always surprised how much I'm still enjoyed.
Donald Trump said the exact same thing just the other day. I'm very liked. No, I'm joking. Ladies of London, from what I've seen, were you like the boss? I felt like you were the main character within the show that everyone worked around.
I was, but I think it started a lot because, they're my friends, my family. So it's sort of, I was the linchpin, if it were, to like how everybody met and who was brought into the show. So they were people that I knew, or people that were, you know, acquaintances of mine, or they're my actual family. So it made me the very, very center character of the show.
When they came to you, the network, they asked you to bring your friends and your family, and they wanted to create this?
No, I mean, I think when you start a reality show, we were all cast separately, and I didn't know who was going to be cast. It's always a secret. And one of the girls that was the first in, actually, who really thought she was going to be the star of the show, I won't mention any names, but we are not friends today. And she was the one that cast everyone. She thought she was going to be the star. And I think when a show starts like this, I'd never done TV. I've never been on anything like this before. So you can't possibly understand how the audience is going to react to you. I was petrified. I literally, the night before, I thought I was going to throw up. So what have I done? Why would I open myself up like this? I have a great life. Anyway, it just so happened that the first season, everybody warmed to me the most. I think I was probably the most real, and it just continued from there. And I think once you get that top spot, you don't really lose it.
Was it there was a shorter lady in the show. Was that the one that you're not friends with anymore?
No, shorter lady. It was Kris.
Oh, okay, well, there you go. We got you to say it. So the first shot that I've seen of Ladies of London ever, I pressed it, and it's you dressed up in some sort of unicorn onesie, dancing on top of another woman's husband.
Oh my God, that's disgusting.
It was the weirdest thing ever. All I can say is that I would not want that to be my husband.
Very proud of this moment, Kris. Very, very proud.
What was going on there?
So it was New Year's Eve. I would do the same with all of you. And I brought the fun onesies as a joke. So we could, I mean, how hilarious to have a dinner party where all of you are dressed up as different animals. I mean, it was hilarious. So you're arguing. I was arguing with a kangaroo with a baby. I mean, it was just too ridiculous. And we're all having a laugh, and Juliet's husband wouldn't partake in the fun we were having. Now, mind you, when you're watching that, it does look like I'm in a room alone with him, on top of him. You've got to remember, there's like 8 camera crew. There were 2 of the girls behind the camera. I wasn't alone anywhere. And I'm dressed as a unicorn. It's not like I'm on top of him dressed in a mini dress. Anyway, that scene became iconic and pretty much everybody's favorite scene. I think I woke up and ended up on the front cover of page 6 in America as Unicorn Gate. And I was like, oh, holy crap. That was the worst hangover I think I've ever had. And yes, the wife is one of my very, very good friends, was furious at the time. Of course, now it's her favorite scene, absolute favorite scene. I'm like, how can you take it seriously? I'm dressed as a unicorn. It's not like she caught me in a bedroom on, you know, as I said, in a negligee on top of him.
The premise of the show was what exactly? Following the ladies around? What was it about?
Americans wanting to be British society. So in America, the difference is if you you have the American dream. So the American dream is that anyone can become someone. That isn't how England works. England is, it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, because a lot of the old families are now poor, but you can't buy your way into society. In fact, it's completely frowned upon. If you become rich later from nothing, you are nouveau riche. So that's the difference. So it's teaching women how to become, you know, ladies of society.
You grew up in one of these families?
Yeah, well, my mother was a Vestie, so that's one of the biggest names in England. So yeah, and my godfather is a Guinness, and I had another godfather that started Marks and Spencer's. So I come from that sort of world. Again, you have to be born into something like that. I mean, it's not, you can't buy it. And I think that was just the premise of the show. And I was teaching etiquette, and I mean, you know me now. I couldn't be further from that. And that was the whole thing of it. I spent my entire life rebelling against what I've been brought up in. You know, when I was growing up, I had nannies that wore white gloves, and I couldn't touch my brothers and sisters unless I'd washed my hands and done it. It was so formal. They had brown uniform, white gloves, and, you know, I had butlers and things like this. I was like, I remember when the first butler left, and I was like, but how will I eat? All my birthday parties were in the zoo because my friend had a zoo in his house. And next door, and we were pushed around. I mean, it was just a ridiculous. Santa Claus used to come by helicopter, but I'm just not that person anymore. I don't want the same things. And I just, and it's very interesting and it's funny. And it's the Americans don't have that culture and that sort of history.
Do you think you've rebelled against that now later on in your life because you were like, I don't want to have anything to do with that?
100%. I'm having way more fun now. There's so many rules that go with that. And I've had so much fun breaking it out of my parents, who every time they're going, oh God. When I started doing a reality show, my mother was like, don't tell your grandmother, she will die on the spot, like have a heart attack and die. For three years of the show, she didn't say anything. I was the one that finally went, and she was brilliant about it. But my mother's really, really strict too. And I kind of, half of the stuff I've done growing up was just a big F you to them all to see if I could get away with it, because they sent me to boarding school and I was like, I'll do whatever I want then. Being
on a reality TV show, you've got to always, you know that you got cameras around you, but you eventually forget that there's cameras there, I feel. There was an infamous fight between you and, is it Adila, that took place?
Don't tell me that I chose money over my kids. I can't agree with that. Well, I can't agree with you keep going away and leaving your kids all the time. I can't agree with that.
Is it Della okay?
I'm just gonna keep drinking.
Okay, so this looks pretty real. I mean, there's no acting involved. This is really happening, correct?
Adela I've known a long time. She knows exactly how to push my buttons. And Adela at the end, sadly for me, was the worst part of the show and one of the reasons I decided to leave. Because I brought her in, and from the moment I brought her in, she turned on me. And she needed it more than I did, I guess. I don't know, whatever her reasons were. And I do know that the producers are pretty good at getting what they need out of you. But she didn't have a line at all. And I mean, I guess that makes great reality TV, but the season you're talking about was extremely exhausting for me because I just finished fighting with my sister-in-law. I just finished fighting with, I think I'd been top dog too long and they just all wanted to knock me off my perch, which again, I completely understand because of all the interviews are about you and all the comments are about you. It gets annoying. So I probably would have wanted to knock me off my perch too. But I just didn't think Adela would go as hard and fast for me as she did. And also she's quite fragile. Adela has, her own mental health issues, which are well documented. And I just don't find it a fair fight. If you go back at somebody who's not quite equipped to handle a fight in the same way you are, first of all, there's no line. So she goes very low. And second of all, she can't cope. I'm not saying she's unstable. I'm just saying she's not equipped. Some people take things way more to heart than you do. I saw it as a show. I know exactly what I'm going into, and I don't take it too personally. I can wake back up. I mean, having said that, I found it very hard work arguing with Sophie because she wasn't someone I could step away from either, because that was my sister-in-law. So it's very difficult. It depends. You've got very, very different characters. If I have a fight with you today, you and I could probably batter it out and talk sense into each other and we'd be fine. These are, different people can handle these kind of emotional events differently. And she wasn't someone that I could take on that way. So a lot of it, you could see me hold my tongue on the show, really hold my tongue, which then took the joy out of doing the show because I can't react as naturally as I would have.
You said the fight with your sister-in-law, we've got a clip of this, if we can just play this right now.
It was like, this is my family, Sophie, and I don't want you near it.
Well, you and Alex share children.
No, I don't, they don't share children with you.
I felt
he's
like
not going to do that because he's not going to... Throwing the punishment out for...
Yeah, but darling, he's
was
not
as
tread on
big
your
as...
toes.
You put my family and my family.
So your sister-in-law, now divorced, correct?
Yes, so my sister-in-law was divorcing my brother within the show, so that was quite a tough time, yeah.
I mean, are you still all friends now? I mean, obviously your brother, but your sister-in-law?
Great friends, better than ever, like great friends. So she comes here all the time and they do all their holidays together. In fact, I think this last week my brother moved back in with her, not together, just as roommates. So, just because with everything going on, it's just easier to share a house. And they're really, really good friends, which is amazing. I mean, for me, they're incredible co-parents.
Coming through that now, obviously you announced it a few months back that you and your amazing ex-husband, Jem, are also getting a divorce. How's that? How's the process going, especially with all this quarantining and what we're going through? We're all at home. How's that been?
Well, I think we both need a giant pat on our backs, frankly. I mean, we are being amazing because honestly, I don't know anyone else. I mean, literally the day that we decided to get divorced and do all this and go through whatever has been it's always hard at the beginning, no matter how much how fond you are of each other. It's hard. There's a lot of anger, hurt, pain, one's up, the other one's down. And then suddenly everyone goes, well, now you're quarantined. Okay, so he can't see anyone. We're stuck together and we're thrown back together. But actually it's been fine. And I think we've worked through a lot of the issues that we'd had, which probably maybe we wouldn't have done so readily because, he would have been traveling. Maybe he's been on holiday with friends, other people would have got involved, as everyone loves to do. And so because we've been stuck together, but in separate houses, we've really got a routine going. The kids are doing their thing. He comes over to swim in some afternoons. They stay with him 2 nights a week. They're 3 with me. It's been great. And yesterday it was my boy's birthday, so we've been, he pops over, and I think the legal work's almost done, and we used 1 lawyer. We didn't even use 2, so there was no argument.
When did you know that you guys were going to divorce? Like, has it been in the works for a couple of years?
I just think we just began to live. We just grew apart. We've been married for years, Kris. I know that, you were always holding a flag that might go back, but 18 years and we're really good friends. It's fine. I'm not going to ask you to choose between us because I know who you choose.
I like him. as long as you're happy, obviously. And, someone that like myself who's gone through a divorce, there are those early stages that you want to get through. And then eventually after years later, it becomes a lot easier.
The one thing I've done is I've tried to just, zip it. Don't say anything you can't take back. And then, once you've got through that and time heals everything and we've had time and we're spending time, now I think he'll be happier. A lot of people stay because of duty and everything else, and they feel like they're going to lose everything. I don't feel that. I'm not going to lose anything. Jem will be my family till I'm, 100. So he's stuck with me. I intend to go on holiday with him twice a year, so he's really screwed. And so, I said that to him. I was like, just find a girlfriend, make her my best friend, we'll have a great time. And so once, you understand that, I'm not losing my family, I'm gaining another family. Whatever his family's going to be is going to be my family too.
And it's a good outlook, but if you can... The woman that Jem, and if he may not want to find anyone for a while, but if he does find someone and wants to spend some time with, that's going to be a fairly strong woman. That's going to be cool with having the likes of you running around the household in your unicorn onesie, jumping up and down on a sofa.
I know. Well, she's got to be a cool, strong woman. I mean, most women that like me understand it's a joke. Juliet and her husband are some of my closest friends. I mean, obviously she knows it wasn't anything serious. I'm dressed as a blue unicorn, for God's sake. So, I have that banter. I am that person. I love to do inappropriate things. What can I say? I'm great to pull out a party.
What would you like to do next? And what's the possibility of doing next?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, these things sort of unfold on their own. I have no idea. Look, once you're on one of these things, everybody obviously has a lot invested in you. And so they always want to see you on other things like this. So I don't know, sky's the limit. I wouldn't say no to doing another show, but, it's not as easy these days. Let's see what happens.
But I could see you on another show. I feel like you've got that personality to be able, especially now, newly divorced. There is possibly a new angle on Caroline that maybe a network would want to look at. So if a network came up to you now and the money was right and everything was cool, you'd be like, you know what? I'd give it a go.
I'd give it a go again. It's like having a baby. You forget all the bad stuff and you do it again. Enough time has passed, put it this way. But it'd have to be the right thing. And, I don't know how long I saw myself in Dubai, but, Dubai is a great life. It really is. And I'm seeing it more and more through this. Yeah. I have everything I always wished for, which is with the American life here. I enjoy the stuff I do. Here I'm doing quite well. I'm still one of not very many people that do what I do. So I'm, kind of killing the game here as you are and everything, and kind of enjoy it too. So it would have to make sense to leave what I'm doing now.
I don't know anyone who spends more time getting skin treatments, facials, machines put on their thighs.
44 on Tuesday. Okay, let me just explain this, because first of all, I don't have some sickness where I'm like just all about plastic surgery. Okay, first of all, I am 44 and I do look quite good for my age.
You do, but yeah, let me say that. Let me say it.
Well, you weren't doing it, were you? I was waiting. Been waiting. I waited hours, so I thought I'd just help you out. But, you know, they've got to remember, people have to remember, my job is to try these treatments. You know, I have to try these treatments. That's what I do. So I'm the face of clinics out here. So I get to try all the things and tell you whether I like them or think they're worthwhile. So that's why I do understand that the normal person in this world can't do all these things. So and people DM me all the time, and I will say, obviously you don't do 7 treatments to your face at once. Sure. You know, if you're going to do one, I would suggest this, or what's your problem area? I'll suggest this. I am extremely lucky in that I get to try all the newest things, and I will be frozen in time for as long as possible.
But now being at home and being quarantined and not being able to the luxury of going to the salons all the time, do you feel different? Like, do you feel like the treatments do things to you physically? Like,
this is all dropping. So when you get older, the sides of the mouth come down. I need 2 little fillers here, and that just lifts it up so I look like a happier person. I feel like this has come down, but I need my doctor here. The jawline, yeah, I feel that it's going. I use spray here. Remember, you took great pleasure in telling the entire world that I'm grey.
No, well, that's cool. No, you look great. You look great. You look 40. You look 40, not 44. I mean, you and I do our own little podcast as well, which we've been doing for the last year, which I've been loving doing. And the way that you and I met, which was interesting, was you were hosting a charity gala here in Dubai, and someone put me in contact, and the next thing you know, I'd met you.
I mean, I know you think I love to talk all the time, and I do, but I like to do it like this. I hate it when I have to see people in front of me, then I'm like, I get scared and want to run off. So she was like, oh my God, there's this guy called Kris Fade. And I was like, oh, you know, children's presenter. I was like, oh, no. Anyway, only a joke. I called up and you were like, yeah, I'll do it. And that was it.
How do you know so many people? You brought Ben Stiller, Sarah Ferguson, Natalie Imbruglia. And then over the year and a half that I've known you, it's just like you just seem to know everyone. Nicole, you and I are having dinner with Nicole Scherzinger here in Dubai because she's your friend, and I'm like, how do you know so many people?
Nice. I know you don't see it, Kris, but I'm really nice and people really enjoy me. Natalie Imbruglia I've known nearly, I guess, 8, 9, 10 years now, just through socially in London, just hanging out, and we're like sisters. And Nicole, I met at a dinner like 7 or 8 years ago now. I guess London's small, and the places that we all hang out are small, and, you know, I'm a good time. I always have fun, and everybody likes a good time. I'm uncomplicated, I think. You are.
Well, listen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. I know you're very, very busy. I'm being sarcastic when I say that. Now that I know you, like, I would love to see you now on another reality TV show that I can watch. So
why don't you go back and just watch this one that is on there?
I will. I'm going to go back because I've only seen snippets of it, but I'm going to go back. I'm going to watch Ladies of London. I don't want to judge you any more than I've already judged you in our friendship.
I don't know what you're talking about. Stop talking until you've seen it.
Okay. All right. I'll go see it. In the meantime, thank you so much. Love you so much. I'm so grateful to be able to call you my friend.
Oh, me too.
Well, once again, thank you to Caroline Stanbury for joining us. Next week on the show, my guest is huge. I can't reveal any more. Guys, thank you so much for sharing this, your comments that I'm receiving, no matter where you're watching it, be on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or any of the other platforms. We appreciate you and I appreciate you. In these times, keep practicing social distancing. We are still in a pandemic. Don't forget, we are still in this fight. Stay home. With me, Kris Fade and friends. We'll see you next week.